Hi, guys, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Tiffany Britt. I am the Chief Marketing Scientist at Editability, and I very quickly want to talk to you about hosting. If you have ever hosted and maintained your own website, then you know that there are a lot of tangible and intangible costs that are associated with hosting that many small business owners don't think about initially. Initially, when you're publishing your site, you're probably thinking about how beautiful it is, how wonderful it is, how professional it looks, and you're all excited, and then you're ready to publish and you all of a sudden you have to think about hosting. It's an afterthought. What I want you guys to do is consider 7 different areas of hosting and 7 different areas that we are different. Now, the first area that I want you to think about is hosting itself, hosting and storage space and bandwidth. The second area is monitoring. The third area is security. The fourth area is upgrades. The fifth area is backups. The sixth area is support, and the seventh area is contracts. And by the way, if you are like me and you have to have a piece of paper in your hand, something tactical to explain what it is that you're listening to or learning about, then go to the blog, the Small Business Big Voice blog. On this particular blog post for this video below, you're going to find a PDF document that you can download that has all the information in it, as well as a few stories that I share about my experience. First of all, let's go ahead and talk about hosting very quickly. Many of these hosting companies, these traditional hosting companies, they will promise you, I call them the $5 hosting plans because they're $5 or somewhere around that, and they promise you unlimited hosting. Okay, this is an unlimited lie, okay? There is no such thing as unlimited hosting. What they're doing is that they're promising you unlimited hosting and everybody else unlimited hosting, and then they stick you on the same server and they overload their servers and they hope that no one takes them up on their promise of unlimited hosting. And when they do take them up on the promise of unlimited hosting and they put a lot of stuff out there, what happens is that that shared server and everybody that's on that shared server experiences issues with downtimes, performance, and speed. So what we do differently is that we right size your hosting. I don't believe in offering you an unlimited plan that you will never use. Okay, I will not offer you an unlimited plan because, first of all, it does not exist. That's a lie. It's an untruth. It is an empty promise. And second of all, you likely, if you're a small business customer and you're creating a information-based website, you're likely never going to use an unlimited hosting plan. So what we do differently is we start you out with an ample amount of space, and then we right size your hosting as you need. So we're constantly monitoring your storage space, we're constantly monitoring your bandwidth, and we're making sure that we make adjustments based upon what we see. I will tell you, I do have clients that are on the Editability Network, and they have more than 500 pages and posts on their websites, and they are not near capacity. Okay, so we pretty much start you out with all the space that you could ever need, but I just won't tell you that it's unlimited because it's not, and there's no such thing. So the second thing that I want to talk to you about is monitoring. Many of these hosting companies, they do not monitor your site performance and your site speed and all of your site's uptimes. What they're doing is that they do monitor their server uptimes and their server speed, and they make sure that they don't have issues, hopefully make sure that they don't have issues on their server holistically, but they're not doing it specific to your website. So what happens in that scenario is that if your performance is slow, if you do have some speed issues, or if your website is just plain down, you don't know about it until maybe you happen to check on it and it's down, or maybe your customer or somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, did you know your site was down?" Okay, that's embarrassing. That is no way to find out that your website is down or that there's issues with your website. So what we do differently is that we are constantly monitoring your site. We monitor your site as if it were our own. We make sure that it stays up and running. You don't have to worry about monitoring it. We keep it up and running, and we make sure that it's operating optimally, where it's operating at its optimal levels of security, optimal levels of performance and speed. So that's something that we do. You don't have to worry about doing that. The next area that I want to talk about is security. Now, this is an area that's really important, especially if you have a WordPress website. In the traditional hosting environment, the shared hosting platform, what happens is that the traditional host is not discriminatory, and they have no discretion about who they put on what shared server. So you're on a shared server with everybody else. You don't know who these people are. And unfortunately, some of these people intentionally, because WordPress is something that is high profile and it's susceptible to hackers, they intentionally put malicious code on a particular site on the server. And because you are on a shared server environment, what happens is that when one website catches the code, everybody else on the server catches the flu. Everyone else is affected because you're on that shared server environment. So when your website goes down because of an issue like this, and I have in the download, that PDF download, I've shared with you a story, a personal story of mine when this has actually happened. When your website goes down, that hosting company is not going to provide you any extra support to get it back up and running. It's going to be all on you. You know, they're going to take their hands and they're going to wipe them clean, and they're going to say, hey, we just provide you with hosting space. We just provide you with the server. We don't have anything to do with that. We don't know what you're talking about. So what we do differently is, first of all, we secure our sites. First of all, we make sure that your site is not on a shared server with a bunch of other sites that we don't know who they are. We know who's on our server. And then second of all, we secure our sites with Firhost. Firhost, you can look them up. They're www.firhost.com. They are the industry experts. They are the industry leaders in security. They are the same company that secures websites like 3M and Duke University, Johns Hopkins University, Terminix. They're all their customers, and they all use the same security that we use. And I am proud to say that we have not experienced an issue since 2009, 3 years running, and we have not experienced an issue with having any security issues. Okay, our sites have not been down as a result of that. And then another point of difference with us when it comes to security is, if we do happen to have any of those type of issues, the responsibility is on us to correct them. Okay, you're not in a situation like I was a long time ago when I was with one of these major hosting companies. You're not in a situation where you have to figure out what the problem is, figure out how to correct it, and then completely rebuild your site. Okay, that is not your responsibility. That is our responsibility, and we'll take care of it if that ever does happen. So security is another area that you should be considering when it comes to your hosting environment. A fourth area is upgrades. WordPress is wonderful because there's a lot of upgrades up there. You know, WordPress, the community is constantly growing. The development community has more than 10,000 developers out there, and they're constantly figuring out new wonderful ways to improve WordPress and to make the experience much, much better for you as a user, and the front end much more clean and professional. They're always improving WordPress, and because of that, they're always coming out with a new update. Well, when you're on these traditional platforms, a traditional hosting company, you are the one that's responsible for keeping your WordPress website up to date. You have to, first of all, monitor WordPress and figure out when these updates are happening. Second of all, you have to figure out how to do the update yourself. And third of all, you have to figure out whether that update affected anything adversely on your website, and make sure that your website is still operating efficiently after the update has taken. So what we do a little bit differently here is that we do the upgrade for you. When WordPress comes out with an upgrade, first of all, we're constantly watching. We're like, oh, when's the next upgrade? We're constantly looking out there to see what's going to be next. And then when they do release an upgrade, we test it to make sure that everything's going to be okay. When we upgrade all of our sites, we upgrade your site automatically, and then we make sure that your site wasn't adversely affected as a result of the upgrade. So that's something that we all do. It happens behind the scenes. You don't even know that it's happening. All you know is that your site stays up to date, which is wonderful. And then it's also wonderful because of security patches. That's something I didn't mention before, but WordPress, with each one of its new updates, it's constantly, if there's any issues, any security vulnerabilities in the code, in the new version of WordPress, it is updating it with the newest security patches. So if you are someone that does not keep your WordPress website up to date, then you are susceptible to attacks. So that's another reason why you don't want to be on a shared server environment with other people that you don't know what they're doing and how they maintain their site. If they're not maintaining your site and you're maintaining your site, you're still vulnerable because they're vulnerable. So That's something that we do, is keep you up to date with the latest version of WordPress. Backups is another area that we focus on as well. With the traditional hosting company, you are the one that's responsible for your backups. Okay, so if your WordPress website goes down and you have not taken the time to back up your WordPress website, the database, and all of the content, then you're just kind of out of luck. They're not going to be able to help you there. But what we do is that we back up our sites. I always keep backups of these sites because you just never know when you would have to restore your website to a previous date. So that's something that happens behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about it. It's just something that happens, and it's always there in case you need it. Support is another area. Many of these companies can provide support, but their support is limited to technical support. I always laugh because oftentimes when I call these companies, and when I was a customer, I would call these companies and ask them a simple question sometimes, and then I would hear this on the phone. Just one moment, Miss Britt. And I could hear them typing in something and reading off a list, and it was pretty obvious they were reading off a list. Look, I do not have an issue with rules and procedures. I love them. Trust me, I love them. However, when you would ask them something that was not in their rule book or their list of procedures, then they were completely lost. And if you asked them something that was not technical, then they were lost as well. They just could not help you. So how we're different is that, yeah, we can help you with server related issues, we can help you with technical things, but likely you're not going to be contacting us because you have a technical issue. The reason why you're not contacting us about a technical issue is because we take care of all of that for you. So if you do need support, oftentimes it's support about design related issues, it's support about marketing help, and because we do have that expertise, Editability is a full service marketing agency. We can help you in many areas beyond just the technical areas. So we're kind of like an extension of your team in that way. So support is another point of difference for us. Contracts is a final point of difference. With some hosts, your commitment, first of all, many of these hosts are not committing you to a contract. Many of the hosts that I dealt with and the hosts that are out there right now, they have plans that do not commit you to a contract. You're month to month. That's a really great thing, and that's a change that's happened here lately in the industry. What I will say, though, is that if you want to take advantage of lower rates, you have to get a contract. If you want to get the low rate, you have to commit to a longer contract. So the longer the contract, the longer the commitment, the lower the rate is. And then another thing is that, and this is something I am seeing less and less of, and I'm so glad that I'm seeing less and less of this. Some of these companies, and it wasn't always the traditional hosting company. A lot of times it was independent web designers that would do this, but they would take a client site and they would build that site around a proprietary system. So what would happen is that if the client wasn't happy any longer, or they just wanted to take their site elsewhere, the client was kind of stuck. They had to stick with that particular person, that particular hosting company, or that particular designer. So in that sense, they couldn't go anywhere. They were stuck. And I am a huge proponent for, first of all, I don't like contracts. And second of all, I'm a huge proponent for you owning your website, because that is an asset. So first of all, as it deals with contracts, what I do with our company, with Editability, is I have a no contract, no strings attached, no hassles policy. And the reason I do that is because I want you to be with our company because you value the product and the service that we bring to the table, and we treat you well, and we operate with integrity, and we do everything we can to help you. I want you to stick with us because of those reasons, not because you're tied to a contract. I am someone that in my own consumer life, if I find a company that treats me well and that does all of these wonderful things, I will be forever loyal to that company. And I think that you guys are the same way as well. So I want to make sure that I provide an awesome product, awesome service for you, and because of that, I want you to stick with me. Now, another thing that I will say as it relates to contracts and kind of tying you down, another fear that many people have, and it's a justified fear, is that they won't be able to take their source files with them, or that it's tied to some type of proprietary system. Because we are using WordPress, WordPress is an open source application. You can take your source files from our company and you can launch them anywhere on any hosting platform. Okay, it's not limited to just our hosting platform. Not only that, but if another developer wants to work on your WordPress website, because it is an open source application, there are many other developers that know the code and can work on it as well. So if you ever decide to leave, we'll be sad. Yes, we will probably shed a few tears, but if you ever decide to leave, all you have to do is you just need to let us know, and what we do is we give you your source files. You need to be able to own your asset. Your website is your asset. And if you don't own your asset and a company doesn't allow you to own that asset, then that company is not operating in your best interest. And you really need to think about that. So those are our 7 different points of difference: hosting, monitoring, security, upgrades, backup support, and contracts. Hopefully this gives you a thorough overview of hosting and some of the things that you should be considering as it relates to hosting and your WordPress website. Hosting should not be an afterthought. There are many other considerations that come with hosting outside of just storage space and bandwidth, and I want you guys to consider that. I want you guys to know that our monthly service fee is not just for hosting. You know, it is really about giving you peace of mind. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes when it comes to running and maintaining a website. So what we do is we take care of all the behind the scenes actions so that you can focus on running your business. We maintain your site, you focus on making your money. So thank you so much for listening today, and if you have any other questions, you know you're always welcome to contact me or use the comments section below the video or below the blog post, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Take care.